That brings us into our first point, which is states. States not being Idaho, Massachusetts, Texas, and Oklahoma, but states rather being exactly what you just experienced, a state. Now, sometimes people mistake states for emotions. Emotions probably are a large part of states, but emotions don't define states. States involves our physical being, our spiritual being, our emotional being. It involves every aspect of who and what we are at that exact moment. It's kind of like religion is not the same thing as spirituality, but for many people, religion is a large part of their spirituality. Does that kind of make sense? So I think a lot of people sometimes mistake emotions for states. In other words, happiness. Anyone happy today? Anybody here happy? Okay. Yay, all right. A resounding yes from Edna. A day away from the 4-year-older. See what a couple of days away from the toddlers can do right here. Right. So that's an emotion though. Yeah, I'm happy. Okay. But it's also a state. Has your body ever felt happy? Right? Has your soul ever felt happy? The spiritual component of you are. How about the social component of who you are? Have you ever socially felt happy? Now, let's sort of separate out the emotions. Think about this for a minute. Have you ever felt the emotion of happiness, but there was still something missing? It was just an emotion. It wasn't a state. Maybe there was some physical anxiety. You know, you feel anxiety physically. The DSM-4 is really pretty interesting. The book for psychiatrists, it shows basically what they call mental illness and what those symptoms are. And the first 11 symptoms for panic disorder or panic attacks, which is in the anxiety disorder section, are all very physical. So you can be happy, but at a physical level, it's not the state. Am I making sense here? Yeah. It really goes beyond just the emotion. And so I want to talk about states because states are really important because states give us a launching point for the next action. And here's the cool thing about states. You can change them at any time. And states that we experience are not dependent on anything else to exist. They can be created really at any time simply by choosing to change the state. This is something that most people don't realize. This is at the heart of what separates the healthy person from the unhealthy person. The unhealthy person has an external locus of control. They think that something outside of them makes them the way that they are. But the high achieving person, the healthy person, they realize that there's an internal locus of control. That essentially they are the master of the old saying. The old saying being, you have the same pants to get glad in that you have to get mad in.
I've never heard.
You haven't heard that one? You have to spend a little bit of time in rural Kansas to hear that old saying. But the old saying, you have the same pants to get glad in that you have to get mad in. And there's a lot of truth to that. And the healthy person realizes that at this very moment, I can change my state, every aspect of who and what I am at this moment. That's what this chant is all about. It's about choosing to be in a peak state, however it is you define it, and engaging in a ritual to bring that about. That's what that is. This is, I'm going to lecture about states right now, but we've actually been learning about states the entire week. And so let's do a little bit of exploration on the subject of states. Let's take a couple of states, and I like to often refer to these in NLP as resource states. I mean, for example, depression could be a state. Anyone here ever been depressed? Okay. All right, good. I'm glad to see everybody raise their hand. Because if you've never experienced depression at all, then you're probably not a human being. You're probably just a human doing. And in life we experience the highs and the lows. But depression is something most of us can relate to, having experienced at one point or another in life. Now, some of you have experienced the emotion of depression at various times, because sometimes life is depressing. It would be abnormal to never be depressed. Your dog only lives 14 years. So every 14 years you're going to be depressed, because your old companion is going to die. And it would be abnormal after spending 14 years with your loyal companion to not feel a sense of depression, following the tragic death of a pet. It's an example a lot of people can relate to. There are other times in life where things are depressing. You've had your hopes that something would manifest or emerge in life. Maybe you even made plans for this. And then, of course, life is full of disappointments. And a normal response to something not coming about in the way that we had hoped they would is to feel a sense of depression. That's a normal experience. And, of course, if any of you are parents, you've probably at one time or another experienced depression, because sometimes being a parent is depressing. Most of the time it's really pretty cool, but it would be abnormal if it wasn't depressing. So depression, I found, is something that a lot of people can relate to. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on things that we associate with negativity, although I don't associate depression with negativity. It lets me know I'm a human being. But it's one that everybody can sort of relate to. And so what I'd like you to do right now is just close your eyes. And you can think back to a time where you felt depressed. Now, I want you not to go back to a time where you were catastrophically, suicidally depressed and ended up in the hospital. But I do want you to go back to a time or a place, or just the feeling of feeling blue, of feeling down, of feeling depressed. And now, what you can actually do right now is not only recollect that state, but you can actually associate, that's the word we use in NLP, into that state. You can actually let yourself right here, right now, become depressed. Feel that depression. And of course, depression is something that is normal. It is a part of life. It lets us know that we're a human being. And so most people at a workshop would never start by letting people associate into their depression. But I think it's perfectly okay to recognize both sides of the coin, the yin and the yang of the various states that we experience. In fact, it often more fully helps us to recognize the alternative and the antithesis and the things that are really most important to us. So now open your eyes. Open your eyes. And the next NLP term is calibration. What calibration is all about is noting where you are, where you start, where you finish, and where you arrive. It's simply taking a measure of what your experience is at any given moment. And calibration is important because in NLP we want to be able to calibrate the highs, we want to be able to calibrate the lows, and we want to be able to calibrate the middle. I can't remember if that's the mean, the mode, or the median.
Median.
It's the median? Awesome. There's always a person who passed statistics in the room, and it wasn't me. So that's the median. Yeah. And we want to be able to calibrate those things so that we can pay attention to where we are. Now, here's a question for you as a participant in the room after we just created the state of depression. By the way, how many of you were depressed a moment ago? All right.
And many of us still are.
And now I was going to ask how many of you still are. And here's the question. Can you feel the energy in the room? Mm-hmm. What's the energy in the room like now versus when we finished our chant? It's heavy. Yeah. But I'm making the assumption in this workshop that we are resourceful individuals, that we're the healthy ones. And so that it's not going to take professional intervention to help you move to a different state. And so close your eyes again, and I want you to think of a time when you were happy, or you can just think of happiness. You know, sometimes I have clients and they say to me, I've never been happy. That's okay. In order to not know if you've ever been happy, you still need to know what happiness is, or else you wouldn't know that you hadn't been that. And what I said just made sense. And so think of happiness. Think of a time when you were happy. Feel the feeling of happiness that you felt during that time when you were happy, or feel the feeling of happiness that you feel when you think about the feeling of happiness. But go beyond the feeling of happiness. Let yourself feel a sense of joy. Feel that from the middle of the body, from the solar plexus. In metaphysics, the solar plexus plays such an important part, not only in our physical being, but in our spiritual being and our emotional being as well. The solar plexus in core training and personal training, that bundle of nerves in the center of the body, right below the sternum, and feel a sense of joy physically in that spot. And feel it begin to radiate through every cell and every fiber in the body. And let yourself begin to feel a sense of joy with each breath, breathing in the joy from those around you. Back to what we were talking about the first day, our collective consciousness, or the experience of the people around us. Breathing in with each breath that joy. Bring yourself from a scale of 1 to 10 to your highest level of experience of happiness. Feeling it at a 2, feeling it at a 3, increasing that, a smile coming to the face. A level 4, a smile coming to the face, unable to turn that smile into a frown, even beginning to chuckle on the inside. A 4, feel that at a 5. Laughter is the natural product of happiness. A smile is the natural product of happiness. Let yourself smile right now. Use those muscles of joy. A level 6, feeling it from the inside, unable to stop it from the outside, being felt by the people in the room around you. Thinking about that happiness, a level 8, a level 9, bringing it to the highest level possible, and feeling happiness right now at a level 10. Is everybody happy? Yes! Open the eyes. Now, calibrate. Look around you. See yourself. Feel yourself. What's happening? What state are you in right now? A state of happiness. A state of joy. Contrast that with what we just felt a moment ago. This was not anything I did to you. I just gave you some directions. I coached you. But I didn't make you depressed. And I didn't make you happy. In fact, nobody can make you depressed, and nobody can make you happy. But you can make yourself depressed, and you can make yourself happy, and you can make yourself anything that you need it to be. And so depression and happiness are the easy ones that we're most familiar with. But let's talk about some other resource states. Somebody makes an appointment, they come see us for coaching. What is it that we can do with that person to help them be successful? What do they need? What resource states does that person need? Let's try to define some resource states that would be useful when we're working with a person in our coaching practice. What states would be useful?
Creative.
A state of confidence. Excellent. So let's remember that one. If I were actually writing on the marker board, I might actually write that down. Number 1, confidence. Okay. We don't think of confidence as an emotion like happiness or depression. So you see how sometimes people mistake states for emotions, but it really goes beyond that. And confidence involves emotions, but really transcends that. So that's a great one. A person who we're working with in coaching might also draw on what other resource states.
Enthusiasm.
Okay, let's add enthusiasm. That's a great one. Because in order to be successful, we need to feel enthusiasm about the project we're working on. Have you ever undertaken a project at the direction of somebody else, or because you had to do that, but it wasn't something that you had any interest in doing, and because you had no enthusiasm, the quality of the project wasn't really your quality of work? I mean, we've probably all had that experience before. It's really pretty interesting. I was working on a DVD about 2 months ago, and it wasn't something that I wanted to work on. It was something that I needed to work on. I had gotten past that point of having any interest in that subject, but yet it was still something that I needed to do. I should have done it 2 years ago. I never did. So when I finally got to it, it's my worst video ever. In fact, it's still sitting on my desk unfinished because I'm not sure if I can even use it. And it was because I lacked enthusiasm. In the meantime, I've done 2 other video series, and they're awesome. They're really awesome, and they're awesome because I was enthusiastic about them. One day I woke up and I thought, today is the day that I will do that. In fact, if you are one of my YouTube subscribers, you'll see there's probably about 20 new videos in the last couple of weeks. I've been enthusiastic about the project I'm working on, and they're really some of the best videos I've ever put up on YouTube. They're really pretty cool. Enthusiasm. It's a great resource state. And the project I've been working on the last couple of weeks is huge. You can even ask Edna. She hasn't seen me in 2 weeks because it's a huge project. I've been in my office the whole time. So, which, by the way, sometimes you have to believe that things aren't an accident. Right. Labor Day weekend, Friday night, I decided, since there's kids and dogs in my house, to go work on this at the office. So at 10 o'clock on Labor Day weekend, I'm in the office and I'm working, and no one else, of course, is in the office building, and I hear somebody bursting in through the door, obviously to steal drugs from the dermatologist office next door, or whatever it is people break in to do to axe murder the hypnotist. And so I get up to investigate this crashing, sound of somebody breaking in the building, and I look around and there's nobody in the building but me, and of course the outside, I've locked myself in the building, because it's night, and I'm looking around, I can't figure it out, and I open up the closet in my office, and there's a plumbing leak from up above, and my ceiling had collapsed. And I thought to myself, if I had decided to work at home that night, I have a studio for production at home, just like this. I have green screen and professional lighting. I have all that stuff at home. But for some reason, I decided to do this at the office, which, by the way, was the first time I ever made a video at the office. I always use my studio at the house. And had I not been there Friday night to meet the plumber at 1 o'clock in the morning, it would have rained in my office until Tuesday when somebody came into the building. So you gotta wonder if things are an accident or if everything works intentionally in our universe. So what other resource states can we come up with?
Competency.
Competency, that's a great one. Competency, yeah. Creativity, yeah. In fact, one of those hypnosis CDs over there, and they're labeled hypnosis CDs because that's what sells on Amazon and iTunes. People look for how to be creative hypnosis CD. They're NLP CDs. They're meditation CDs. I mean, all of these things are really synonyms to a large extent. And there's one over there on enhancing artistic creativity. I think I titled it Overcoming Writer's Block, Enhancing Artistic Creativity, and something else. I can't remember. But, that's an essential state. I have a lot of people who come to see me in my coaching practice for developing creativity. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had some filmmakers in my office, 2 of them, and I worked with them to enhance creativity, to draw out of them the creative them they know is inside. One of them was really pretty interesting. He 28, 29, and he said he was most creative when he was in college, when he was in film school, and he graduated, of course, 5-6 years ago, and he said he just doesn't feel like he did when he was making all those films in class and doing a great job, and he felt like he was really at a stuck point and wanted his creativity back. Kind of like Justin Timberlake.
Bringing sexy back.
Bringing sexy back. Bring creativity back. The other one was really pretty interesting. He was at the apex of his career. He'd even won a film award for an independent film festival he entered in, and he had a little bit of national recognition. And he said that that even though he'd been doing great work, he didn't know where the next idea was going to come from. He really had the same problem a lot of filmmakers or artists have, and that was, how do I top the last one? You probably relate to that. Because Ted, of course, is the world-renowned artist, Ted Shaw. You can go to artbyted.com. That's right, artbyted.com.
TedShaw.net.
TedShaw.net. What's artbyshaw.com?
Artbyshaw.com. I don't know what
that's not you. All right.
Me. I'll look that up.
All right.
My email might that one.
Oh, that's your email address. Okay, all right. It is you. Yeah.
It was my other
Right. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, so how Yeah.
Yeah.
That's you, Ted. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
So, but creativity is not only for artists, creativity is for other people. Creativity is for all of us. If you're a land developer, you need creativity and vision to be able to see the next project that's going to be developed. If you're a hypnotist, you need creativity to feel like you can experience confidence in the scripts that you're going to be sharing with clients. So creativity is a great resource state. That's enough. We could probably come up with a list of 50 or 100 or 200 or 2,000 resource states before the day is over, but I don't want to dwell on this too much, and these are pretty good ones and pretty common ones. And so let's do an exercise to understand the simplicity and the ease of actually changing states. So go ahead and close your eyes. We're going to go about this in a number of different ways. I tend to like to do things with the eyes closed because it removes distractions from the world around us, but it's not necessary that we close the eyes in order to change our state. But the first one on our list here is confidence. And one way to increase your sense of confidence is to see yourself future pacing as you know you can be and will be in different situations. In fact, you can even see yourself in a difficult situation, stepping up into that situation with confidence. But don't just see it, feel it right here, right now in your body. Put your body in the posture, in the position of confidence. Move yourself to where physically you exude confidence and where you feel confident. Our mental imagery, of course, is that of seeing ourselves in a scenario or situation where you are confident, and now from an auditory perspective, hear confidence. Hear the tone of your voice, hear the quality of your comments, hear and listen to the voice of your own confidence, talking to you, telling you about your experience. And you can even from a kinesthetic perspective feel confidence. You can feel the hands resting on your lap, feeling a sense of confidence in those muscles. And on a scale of 1 to 5, with each number, double and increase that sense of confidence right here, right now. Be confident. 1, 2, 3, increasing that with each number. 4, 5, being incredibly confident. And now hold that state. Remain in that state of confidence. And imagine now in front of you on the floor is a chalk circle made out of that same chalk they use on football fields. Just imagine that it's right there in front of you. Just imagine that it's right there in front of you. And let yourself continue to be confident. And now imagine, because the tables are in front of us, so we're not actually going to do this, but imagine stepping up and putting one foot into that circle, stepping up into that circle, putting the other foot in, and becoming confident at the highest level possible. Double that confidence now. Standing in the circle, seeing yourself and just bringing yourself to the state of confidence. What a wonderful feeling. Again, not one that I've done to you, but one that you've created by letting me guide you through this simple process. Open the eyes. Standing in that circle, of course. Continuing to be confident, and this is called an NLP, an ecology check. An ecology check is seeing how you've changed. How does are you happy with the congruency of this? Does being more confident, does standing in that circle feel good? Is it what you like? Is it something other people around you respect? Is it something that will help you throughout the rest of the day in your relationships with the people around you? What's the answer to those questions, by the way? Yeah. So this is an ecology check. Now, close your eyes. Let's go back to calibration. Be confident, standing in that circle, and note what this feels like. And contrast that with when you felt in the past a lack of confidence, do you note the difference between now and then? You can even project this into the future, seeing yourself in the future as if you had not done this exercise and recognized how to create the state of confidence. And so the question is, when you look into the future as if you had not done this, do you note the difference in the outcome between what it feels like and what it's like to have done this exercise and to have not done this exercise? That's calibration. Noting those differences, the quality, the experience, and the impact of any activities or changes we make. All right, now, imagine that you have a mental saltine. Chomp, 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 shake up all your muscles. Just put yourself in a neutral state, okay? Not happy, not depressed, not confident, just present. The state of just present. Can you do that? Is anyone there? Just present? Okay. There was even a great non-verbal way of saying that. That tells me, just present. Whatever. So we can just be present. But by the way, are you noticing how easy it is to shift these states? We have the same pants to get glad in that we have to get mad in. And we can do it instantly. One day I was driving down the road with my kids, and I was having a bad day, and Edna was actually with me, so she can verify that this story is an accurate story. And I had a bad day. I was grumpy for some reason, and we were on our way to dinner, and I was doubly grumpy that we were on our way to dinner, because I usually am, because I'd rather cook at home. And Alex said something, that's my youngest son, and I think we had a bunch of kids in the car that day, and I snapped at Alex and I bit Alex's head off. And Alex said to me, he was 15 at the time, "Don't be such a dick." Now, when 15-year-old says to dad, "Don't be such a dick," this is time to punch the 15-year-old kid and prove that you are the authority in the family. That's the normal family dynamic. Being a therapist and a NLP practitioner, I thought for just a moment that I calibrated the dissonance between my normal state and my dickiness at that moment. And I recognized that Alex was correct. Which, by the way, is a hard thing for a parent to do. Especially when they've just been called a dick by a 15-year-old.
That they didn't heal.
Who deserves to be punched in the head for disrespecting authority.
Or a little choked.
At least that's what my stepdad would have done to us.
Yeah.
Follow on from that. Don't be such a dick. Wow, you know what? I don't have to be a dick. I mean, my name is Richard, so it's really easy for me to be a dick. And I come from a long line of dicks. My dad was actually Dickie, and my grandfather was a dick. So I mean, it's a role I am comfortable in. I thought about it. I don't have to be a dick. I have the same pants to get glad in that I have to get mad at. So right here, right now, I'm an NLP practitioner. I'm going to change my state. In that very moment, I changed my state from being a dick to being happy, to being enthusiastic, to being confident, to just being nice. My friend, who's a stage hypnotist in Chicago, signs all of his internet posts with "because niceness counts." So whenever he signs an internet, whenever he posts anything on an internet forum or an email, it's always got his name and then it says "because niceness counts." I thought to myself, what, that for some, I don't think he even knows the impact that little, what do they call it, his signature has had on me. But I always think about niceness really counts. It's one of the reasons why I'm married to Edna, because niceness counts. Yeah. I mean, I really realized, at the time that I was reading his post emails, I was dating lots of people and meeting lots of people and trying to meet lots of people and date lots of people, and I was trying to find somebody nice, because niceness counts. And so at that very moment, I decided to change my state. And I did. And we ended up having a very pleasant, very wonderful, very nice dinner. And it's not because the world changed around me, but because I chose to change. So you can see it's easy to move back and forth between these states. So, we've already done a lot of exercises here where we've created enthusiasm. I feel great. I feel terrific. I feel healthy. I feel happy. I feel the power. I have the power. Sort of reading sideways here. Yes, yes, yes. How many of you feel enthusiastic when we do that chant? Yeah. Woo! I can sense the enthusiasm right here in the room right now. Let's just do the last part here. I have the power. Yes, yes, yes. By the way, one of the problems with doing the chant and then teaching a class is you lose your voice when you have to teach the class. Sometimes I'm less enthusiastic than I would be if I wasn't teaching. Yes, yes, yes. When you say yes, 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 it is so simple. 3 letters, 1 word repeated 4 times. A word we use 100 times a day. And yet, the minute we're in the middle of that second yes, there's a transformation to a new resource state. A resource state of enthusiasm. Competency. Close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, taking a deep breath. With each breath, breathing in a part of the universe around us, that vast reservoir of collected consciousness and knowledge and experience and wisdom from all time. Breathe it in. And exhale. You already feel confident, you already feel enthusiastic, now let yourself become competent. See yourself as you know you can be, drawing on your previous experiences and knowledge base, and applying it to new learnings, seeing how the puzzle of life fits together, and with each breath, breathing in the support of those who care most about you, and even the people in this room who long after the seminar is over will help you to be successful at what's most important to you. And bring yourself to a level 10, feeling confident. 1, 2, 3, 4, doubling that competency. 5, 6, 7, feeling confident. 8, 9, 10, at your most competent. Opening the eyes, retaining that state, because it feels wonderful throughout the rest of the day to be competent. Especially if you're one who's struggled with feelings of inferiority or lack of competency, which is different than confidence. Similar. Creativity. There are a lot of ways to enhance creativity. One of my favorite ways to begin any hypnosis session, or we could call it an NLP session, or we could call it a meditation training session, or we could call it simply what King Solomon said, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another, me helping you bring out your best. That's a fine description. Sometimes I call it parenting, sometimes I call it therapying, sometimes I used to call it ministering, so I was a pastor of 2 different churches. So all of these things really are different words to describe the same process. Let's talk about creativity. This is one of my favorite ways when working with people to help them feel more creative, to get in touch with that part of the mind where creativity exists, where creativity is created. And so pick a point over here on the far wall and bring all of your attention to that point. It doesn't matter where the spot is, but pick a spot. It could be a fleck of paint, a color, it could be a chain hanging down, it can be something in the fabric over there, in the ceiling, a light, it doesn't really matter. But pick a point and bring all of your attention to it. Once you've found a point and all of your attention is directed to that point, regardless of what else goes on in the room around you, continue to focus on that point. For example, I tend to wander and pace, and so if I wander and pace, you can continue to focus on that point. This is really one of our first learnings, that of course we can choose what we focus on at any time, despite what's going on in the world around us. Now there's an imaginary point halfway between you and that far point on the far wall. And bring your attention now to that imaginary point. Bring all of your attention, all of your focus to that imaginary point halfway between here and that wall. Bring all of your attention to that point halfway between you and that original point. Now you're actually already learning about creativity, because you're focusing on an imaginary point. You can sense its reality because you've chosen to acknowledge its existence, but just 2 or 3 minutes ago this point didn't exist in your world. And so as you focus all of your attention on that imaginary point halfway between here and the wall, bring your attention now to a point directly in front of you, directly in front of your open eyes. And focus on that point directly in front of you, bringing all of your awareness to here. What's amazing about this is that in just a moment we've realized how easy it is to shift our awareness to various points and the intensity of that awareness. Now close your eyes. Continuing to focus on that point directly in front of you, almost as if you have X-ray vision. Still being aware of that imaginary point directly in front of your now closed eyes. And now draw in that sense of awareness into your mind and place that awareness, let that awareness settle in the part of the mind where awareness is created. And it's at this point in the mind where creativity lies and where creativity is born. Draw it in, bring it in, and become aware of that spot, that place in mind where creativity is birthed, where creativity exists. What's amazing about this exercise is that until now you probably weren't aware that this spot existed, but yet you were able to move your awareness to that point. And focus on this point where creativity lies, where creativity is born from, where awareness is present. And from this point, like a flower growing, like a flower blooming, let a sense, the state of creativity, come to its highest level. And let yourself be brought to a point of feeling creative. Sense the cells of your body from a physical perspective. Check your emotions. Calibrate this experience of creativity, bringing yourself to that point where throughout the rest of today you'll be at your most creative. It's really a pretty wonderful thing to do. And now, like we kept confidence, like we kept enthusiasm, like we kept competency, open the eyes throughout the rest of the day, having a creative and energetic spirit. Now, again, that's a fairly simple process, but what was that experience like for you? Were you able to become aware of that point or that place in the mind where creativity lies, where creativity exists, where creativity is created? Okay. You can speak out loud. You can actually, if you go like this, you can say yes. Or you can say, no, I didn't get there. Okay, all right. Not everybody will always get there. In a short exercise, if you're in my office, you'd be the most creative person in the world at the end of an hour. That was a 2-minute exercise. You had an easy time with that, Ted?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. Anyone else have an easy time with that? You guys over here seem to have an easy time with that. Okay, Mr. Reader had an easy time with that. Okay. Anyone else have a difficult time? Sid's probably not the only person who had a difficult time with that. Okay, Kip did. Again, a very short exercise. We can expand that exercise too as long as we need to with the individual client on our caseload. But you can see how easy it is to create resource states, utilize resource states, and then move between these states. Here's how we move between the states. Close your eyes. We don't have to do anything to move back to creativity because we were just there. So bring yourself back to that level of creativity that you experienced just a moment ago, and now shift to feeling confident. I'd like to see the body exude confidence here. Let yourself be confident. moving to competency, feeling enthusiastic about your abilities, being creative, being competent, confident, even happy, and open the eyes, having moved from state to state, state to state, effortlessly and easily at the same level that we were just doing in the exercises. Are you getting that experience? Is that experience something that you're experiencing? Okay. All right, good, thank you. A real answer, that's awesome. In NLP, it's essential to understand states. Now, in addition to being able to guide a person through states, by the way, I'm putting all these videos up on YouTube so that you can review these later on. Okay, the whole video from the other day is up. This video will be up sometime tonight or tomorrow. The hotel internet connection is really slow when you upload an hour and a half long video, so I might end up waiting until I come back. But it'll all be posted in the ICBCH forum, so you can actually review some of the stuff. Because I know sometimes when I'm having you close your eyes, open your eyes, create, experience different things, you become involved in the experiential process, but you wish later on you can go back and take notes about it. So that's why I'm going to post the video for you. But in addition to being able to create these states yourself, and in addition to being able to guide other individuals through processes that can help them create these states, we also need the ability to sense other people's states, to develop our sense of intuition, to be able to identify the resource states that other people are experiencing. And this is actually kind of fun. Because when we're looking at somebody, Kip, come up here. How do I know he volunteered to help me with this exercise? Because he registered for the workshop. All right, stand right here. And what I'd like you to, this is really something relatively easy. I'm sitting across from Kip. We're the only ones in the room. They're just observing through the glass here. Okay? And so what I'd like you to do is just sort of take a mental salty and shake it off for a minute, taking a breath. Right? Close your eyes. And there are 4 states here on the board: confidence, enthusiasm, competency, creativity. Okay? I would like you to pick one of those states and bring yourself to that state. Feel that state. Increase that state from a level 1 to a level 3 to a level 4 to a level 5. Be in that state: confidence, enthusiasm, competency, creativity, the one that you would like to bring yourself to right now, the one you'd like to focus on, and be that state. And just hold that state. You guys on the other side of the glass, you're observing. Can you see him? Can you feel him? Take your pen right now and write down the state that he's in. Kip, you've been a fine helper. Open the eyes, retaining that state, letting yourself continue to feel it. Now you've all written down the state. Okay. Tell us, Kip, what state were you focusing on?
Competency.
Competency, okay. Competency and confidence are real close together. I pick confidence. Okay, who else picked confidence? Okay, so this side of the room, okay, and then who picked competency? Okay, all right, okay, wow, amazing. The whole experiment failed miserably. Who picked creativity and enthusiasm? Actually, it didn't fail miserably. Remember, NLP, presupposition, there is no failure, only feedback. And there's something that we mistook for confidence, and I think it was, we associate that puffing up the chest and whatever else. They're so closely related that sometimes it's hard to really sense the difference. But that's one of the things we want to be able to do. We want to be able to get good at sensing and identifying the states of other people. You guys get a high five because you guys rock. This part of the room is fantastic. We need a little more work, our side of the room. Okay. So thank you very much, Kip. Fantastic, great. Have a seat. Who's next? Come on up. Yeah. Come on. We're gonna do this one more time. Okay. And actually stand right here. And perhaps part of the difficulty was that part of the room could see something and the other part couldn't, so we'll all be able to see here. All right. Imagine a circle there around you, you're in the circle. Just you and I here in the room. Close the eyes. 4 states to experience: confidence, enthusiasm, competency, creativity. Bring yourself to one of those states. Pick one that's important to you. Pick the one that's most important to you right now at this very moment, even if the conscious mind doesn't know which one the subconscious mind does, because you'll begin to feel that automatically, either creativity, competency, enthusiasm, or confidence. Manifesting it physically, manifesting it in your emotions, being in that state at this time, in this place, right here, right now. And now the room's going to write down the state that they think you're in. You're going to close or open the eyes and tell us what was going on.
Creativity.
Yep, I wrote creativity.
Me too.
Yep. So who wrote creativity down? The majority of the room. And that's actually one that's real, but being able to really this is the art of nonverbal communication. It's not me being able to non-verbally communicate. I'm pretty good at that. Right? It's being able to understand the nonverbal communication of others, really on a metaphysical level, to be able to feel that state. Although I did look at you and although I did look at Kip to try to figure it out, in fact, I think part of the reason why I got it wrong with Kip is I was looking at him rather than feeling Kip.
I don't think you guys were so wrong. I mean,
They're so related, right?
confident.
Well, and they're so
I was
related.
more confident.
Yeah, they're so related that and you don't need to make us feel better. We'll just accept we nailed it wrong. But that's okay, because this is you're never going to be perfect at this. I've been doing this a long time. I've never gotten 100%. I can take 10 states. When we do a 7 or a 14-day NLP training, we'll deal with 10 or 14 states and do this exercise. And I don't think I've ever scored 100%. It's not about perfection. It's not about always getting it. It's about practicing and developing the skill of being able to sense and experience the states of others. Because knowing the states of others goes far beyond simply hearing the words of others and gives us a clear direction. So thank you. Big round of applause.
Nice job, everybody.
And now we're going to do this with our partners. Because the way to master material is to practice.